Director for Joico. Welcome to HairJoi Live, an online live education that we're putting on as a company and collaborating with Behind the Chair. What I wanted to share with you was really cool express services. So you would have seen Jill Buck in the beginning do a really cool express color, and then you saw Ricardo do gray coverage. Today, we wanted to give you as much variety of education as possible. So today I'll be doing a haircut. A lot of the states, when they get back to the salon, are not able to use a hairdryer. So I thought it'd be a really cool express service to show you a dry cutting technique. And so that's what I'm going to be showing you today. We've pre-colored the hair. In fact, Ricardo has pre-colored the hair, which will give you the formula later on. And what we've done is we've just come around. We've just basically put a nice baseline all the way through. We cut it square through the back and then square through the side, so it doesn't come falling longer towards the front. What I want to do today with this haircut is I want to put some layers internally, nothing short, really long layers, because I want to maintain a lot of the weight. And then we're going to put a nice soft disconnected bang, or fringe as you would call it. And then we're going to style it with some straightening irons to create a really cool Dua Lipa wave. Dua Lipa is someone I love her music, but I also love her style. And I would like to show you how to create that wave with the straightening iron. So let's kick off with the back. If you want to come around the back. Okay, so we've cut everything through the base. We're going to start working through the center back, taking a section no wider than the comb. All right, and then we're going to elevate everything nice and high, because we don't want to overlay the hair. We want a lot of that weight through the bottom. And we're just going to knock off this corner just through in here. So start cutting 2 inches off the layers in this section. And we're just point cutting. And as we're point cutting, we're making sure it's really soft. We're not coming too strong on an angle. We're elevating our elbow and point cutting so we don't leave any marks in the hair as it falls. Okay, so we drop that. We come have a look. And you can see that the layers now will sit exactly about 2 inches above the hairline, okay? So what I'm gonna do now to maximize the weight through the sides is I'm gonna take another section through the center and begin to direct everything to the stationary guideline. So this will create for me an inversion, and it will allow me to maintain more length and more weight through the sides. You know, cutting is just as important as coloring. And coloring is just as important as cutting. So it's about understanding both elements and being able to complement one another with a beautiful cut and a beautiful color. We've obviously used the Defy Damage before coloring, and this is something I want to quickly touch on. Defy Damage Pro Series 1 and 2 is for the professional. Then you got the home kit at home. And what's great about this is the next generation in bond building. So it makes the hair 5 times stronger, 80% less breakage, maintains over 90% color vibrancy even after 10 shampoos, and evens out the porosity as well to help you with the lift. So this is something that we use prior to any color that we incorporate and utilize on the client, because it completely protects the hair. You don't need to mix it into a color formulation. You grab the spray, you shake it really, really well, and you begin to spray through the hair and brush it through. Once that's brushed through, you can just go ahead and color, and it will completely maintain the integrity of the hair, keep it nice and healthy. Anyway, gonna continue, wanted to work through this back section. Gonna now direct everything over to the center, making sure that my fingers and my comb are parallel to the center parting. So there's not much hair coming off here. Okay, so now we're going to do the exact same thing on the other side. So if you want to come around the other side, now you'll notice my body position is different. Whenever you're doing inversions, it's always good to stay on the same side as the guideline. So when I was inverting on the right side, I was pulling the hair towards me. Going to do the exact same thing on the other side. Pull the hair towards you so that the guideline's on your side. Why? Because you'll have more control pulling hair towards you rather than away from you. So I'm going to do the exact same thing on this side. I'm going to take a small section here, go back to my center parting, which is where the guideline is waiting for me. Going to elevate the hair nice and high. And whatever falls out, just leave out, because it's not about overlayering the hair. I want a lot of the weight throughout the edge. With the shapes that I'm seeing, I think we're going to see longer layers. So it's a lot heavier, not so short. And that's what I wanted to create here. So it's very much a shape that has internal layers, but not too fragmented around the perimeter. So it will give us volume and texture, but at the same time, give us strength around the baseline, which is what we want with this particular shape. So again, just cutting that a little bit more off through in here and point cutting. Last section through the back. Again, this is an express service haircut. Very simple, but very, very effective. A lot of people always ask me what scissors I use. I use the Mitutani scissors, and I've recently just got the swords because they're great for dry cutting. And if you're going to be doing a lot more dry cutting, which is a great way of being able to cut hair, I would get a pair of scissors that actually specialize in dry cutting because it doesn't bend the hair as you cut. It actually executes the hair quite nicely. Okay, so with the back, I just want to show you what we've created. So you can see that we've still got a very strong baseline here. But what we've created is just some long layers through in here, and that's going to give us a little bit more volume. We're going to layer it more through the top now. So what we're going to do with the front section is begin to isolate the back by using the clip and keeping that right away. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take a section through the front here and then work a profile section because we're going to connect that back section to the front and incorporate a different angle, but still working with an inversion. All right. So making sure that the section, if you want to come around, is in line with the bridge of the nose. Okay. And then what we're going to do is use this center section as a guide. So we're going to grab the section from the back. Do you want to come around this way? And you can see where my guideline is. I'm going to use that as a guide. All right, and then work long from short to long. So we're point cutting all of that length away and then point cutting into the hair so it's nice and soft. It's about reducing weight and length at the same time. And this will give us a shorter guideline through the top that we can over direct to, okay? So you can see I've used the exact same guide from the back, just gonna double check the line. All right, and just make sure that I'm completely happy with the guideline, because this is gonna be the exact guideline for the shape through the top. And you notice I'm cutting into the hair as well. All right, so now that we've got that guideline, we can drop the hair, and it gives us a guideline on both sides. I'm gonna split that into two. So now we have a guideline on this side and on the other side. So what we're gonna do now is work diagonal back sections like so, and direct everything to the center. You can see the guideline there. And now we're just gonna point cut that through. So everything's directed to the center. And what that's gonna enable us to have is shorter layers internally, but it goes to longer length, which gives us a lot more strength through the perimeter. I'm gonna repeat that all through the sides. Again, if you want to come around on this side, but you can take the clips away because everything's directed to the same guideline. Make sure your distribution is still the same. So even though we're dry cutting, we're still disciplined with our approach. The distribution, the elevation is still the same. That last section, I'm going to grab all of that. All right, and just make sure you comb it. Obviously, when it's dry, you want to make sure it's combed nicely. And over-directing everything to the center now. Whatever doesn't reach, doesn't reach. So there's not really much reaching. Just going to cut the edge there. And that's a great sign because it gives me enough length and weight through the sides. So when I drop it, you'll notice it's still heavy through the perimeter. Okay, and that's very, very important for me. So I don't want it to be wispy. I want that structure through the baseline. But what I'm doing is I'm creating some internal layering. If you want to come around this side. All right, so you can see we've still got the strength through the perimeter, but what we're doing is we're creating some layers as well. So we've got a shape internally. It's not just one length. Okay, going to do the exact same thing on the other side. Everything's going to be worked diagonal back and directed over to the center. There it is. So it's not about cutting too much hair off. It's about executing the right amount from the right areas just to make the hair look fresher and cool. And you know, a lot of people now are coming back from quarantining for those salons that are open. And a lot of them have probably grown their hair out, which is a cool thing. You can work with that length and actually change the shape. So many times, you know, clients want to grow their hair out but haven't got the patience. I think quarantine has kind of forced people to grow their hair out. So we can work with a different length now and actually create a new shape. It's not about what you kind of cut off, it's about what you leave on. It's about taking the right amount of length from the right areas to tweak and change the shape so it looks fresher, but also keeping length in other areas so that you work with the consultation. I think, you know, consultation is so, so important. I always say we have 2 ears and 1 mouth to listen twice as much as we speak. And whether we be doing our client for 1 year or 10 years, it's so essential to sit down, listen to what they want, maybe exchange some visuals, and then be able to create something fresh and new. That could be with the color, that could be with your layers, that could be with your cut, that could be with the way you finish, which I'm going to show you a really cool way of creating some loose waves with straightening irons in a little bit. Okay, I'm going to repeat the exact same side, same technique on the same side, everything directed. So simple, such a simple haircut. And the simplicity, I think, is what makes it really popular. It's not about creating 50 sections. It's literally working with 2 sections and an inversion that works from the crown all the way to the front hairline. The last section, I'm going to grab all of this in one go. So just start combing it gently and then direct over to the center. Going to make sure the front's also added into that section. It's always different when you're working on a mannequin, but thank God for mannequins, otherwise we wouldn't have been able to do what we've been doing the past couple of months in terms of inspiring each other with education from home. So a credit to everybody who has taken the time out to do some education for us. I think you really strengthened the community as a hairdressing community, but also kept us inspired as hairdressers. All right, so that's the shape. That's the layering technique. I want to do a quick recap on what I've just done, and then I want to show you how I'm going to disconnect the fringe. But before I do that, I just want to detangle the hair. Obviously, because it's an inversion, everything's directed to the center, so you kind of tangle up the hair slightly, but make sure you just brush it out so it's all ready to go for the next section. All right. Now, once we've worked with the layering, we're going to start working with the fringe, okay? And if you want to just come around this way, so that elevate you slightly higher. All right, cool. All right, so as you can see, we've got the strength through the perimeter, all right? And we've got some layers internally as well. And you can always check that for balance by taking a piece on both sides, all right? And we've got a nice balance on both sides. So with the fringe, I don't want to create feathering around the front. What I do want to create is a disconnected fringe. So if you just want to come around, I'm going to take a small section, and this is so important, the density that you're allowing out. Now with mannequins, you know, it's so thick around the hairline. Not everyone's got a thick hairline like this. So you've just got to be technical and be visual to make sure that the amount of hair that's out is exactly what you want. So that looks good. I'm just going to take a little bit less out because it's so thick around the front hairline. And I think that's nice. I like that. So I'm going to take a little bit away. All right, we're going to clip this away and then begin to work this really cool disconnected fringe that we have going on here. Okay, same on the other side. All right, make sure we're happy with both sides. Maybe just a tad more. All right. So we're going to clip that away. And now work with a cool little technique here. If you want to come around this way. Okay, so you can see the fringe, it's there. It's exactly the same length as the baseline. So what we're going to do now is take a little section here and another little section on the other side, all right? And we're going to elevate everything. Come around here. We're going to elevate everything out. Now, how long you leave it or how short you take it is all personal. And it's about what you want to create and the consultation that you've had with your model. Now, people always ask, how long do you take it? How long do you leave it? How short do you cut it? I guess it's all personal. So I'm gonna use my scissors like a razor. All right, and that will create for me a nice inverted fringe. So now I'm gonna direct everything to the center and do the same thing. All right, and that gives me a nice little soft disconnected fringe. Same on the other side. Now, I want to just check for balance. And the reason why I've used my scissors like that is to keep that softness there. I want softness. I don't want a strong line. So by using your scissors like a razor, enables you to have a cute little disconnected piece around the front, which we can check for balance and just make sure we're happy. Again, this is, mannequin hair. So it's going to be always different, but you've got to adjust to all types of hair, especially, with my travels, when I've gone to Thailand and Korea and China and Japan, hair is a lot more coarse. So you've got to be able to understand the hair type and work with it accordingly. All right, I think I like that. Just gonna get that a little bit here on this side and just check for balance one more time. Check for balance technically, not just visually. Make sure you're happy with both sides. And again, let's elevate it out and make sure we're happy there. And just gonna cut that little bit there. All right, okay, so now what I wanna do is I actually wanna begin to style the hair using straightening irons. And around the front, while we're here, if you wanna come around, I'm gonna show you two techniques that I like. I'm gonna start with working this cute little base by tapping the hair. And it creates a bit of a wave there. So just gonna grab that one more time, now that they're hot. And you're just creating like an S bend around the front. And just that edge, we're just gonna scoop it up. We're gonna do the exact same thing on the other side. So you're just creating an S bend and tapping the hair. And right at the end, you're just gonna seal and let that sit there for now, okay? It just gives you a nice, interesting bend, which I think would look super cute with the bend that we're gonna actually incorporate around the sides. Okay, so, around this way. What we're gonna do now is just make sure all the clips are out. And we're gonna start to style the hair. Again, a lot of people aren't able to use hair dryers, so this is a really cool, cute way of creating a nice wave into the hair. So just gonna move that out of the way, keep your section super clean. I always say clean sections are happy sections, so keep your work super, super clean. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna go down, up, down, up, down, up. And that will give us a really cool, interesting bend in the hair, which I think could look really young, really cool, and really modern. We've used the curling irons, and you can use the curling irons, obviously, but this gives you a more flatter bend. I call it a Dua Lipa bend. So it's so simple. I'm going to show you again. So, for those that aren't able to use hair dryers, what I'm going to be doing to my clients is asking them to come in with clean, washed hair. And then I just blow dry it and do exactly what I've done for you today. Just cut it dry and just style it for them. So it's a quick express service of cutting and styling the hair. Okay, so holding the hair, I go down first, and then I go up, down, up, down, and then the ends, you just want to seal the ends so it's nice and healthy. And you let that cool down. Can you see that there? So simple, so effective. And it's, it's about looking at it from the front as well. What I want to avoid here, guys, I don't want that to be too bulky. So when you're coming down, don't accentuate it, just slightly work it down so it doesn't look too bulky, because we want it to be a lot flatter as well through the sides. So I'm going to continue doing that. And then we're going to work a little bit of product, one of my favorite products, which is the Beach Shake from Joico. And it's a great texturizer product. I also use the body shake. I use both. I use the body and the beach shake. The body shake is really about creating body in the hair. The beach shake just has that little bit more shine in the hair. Okay, so same thing. We're going to comb the hair, make sure the hair's clean and combed. Okay, hair's there. We go down, up, down, up, down, up. And it gives you a real nice subtle wave. Can you see that in there? I'm just sealing that end as well through the front. Last section on this side. Just make sure we comb that nicely. And let it cool down. Don't run your fingers through it yet. Let that cool down so that when it's set in place, so we can finish it with some product and it'll still maintain the wave that we have in there. Gonna do the exact same thing on the other side. I wish I could listen to people's comments. It'd be nice to hear what they're saying. How are we in time, Ash? You good? Mm-hmm. All right, let's do it here as well. Come around this side, Ash. All right, we'll just grab another clip. We'll separate the sections too, so your work remains clean. Okay, it's important to work with the comb. And for those wondering, these are the GHDs, the new ones. And why I like the GHDs is because they're curved through the side, so it's easy to twist without leaving strong marks in the hair. Okay, so we're going to continue working this section. And it's about, styling. I think styling is so important. How you finish the hair is so key. And if you don't try something new, you're not going to create anything new. So it's so important to actually try new techniques and offer different looks for your clients so that they can walk away with something fresh and new. And it can just be a simple way of styling hair. It doesn't necessarily have to be a whole complete new cut or color. So just going to continue working with it. I think styling hair is so important. It's one thing to cut hair, but then to use different techniques and creating different looks, I think is what excites me, and using different tools as well. So the form of this is quite repetitive, but the result is so fresh and so cool. Have a look at that. Just beautiful, healthy, shining, and that's kind of what we want to create. Joico is known to be the healthy hair company, about having healthy, joyful hair. So the integrity of the hair and the shine of the hair is so important. So even though we use color and chemical services, it's so important to maintain the integrity of the hair. And that's where the fire damage comes in. That's why I wanted to touch on that in the beginning, so that you guys can ask as many questions as possible, because we're going to be giving away 500 Try Me kits. Okay, so with the back, we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to just separate that into two. So before we section off, I think it's really important just to comb the hair first. Separate the back from the front. I'm going to divide this and just take sections from here and then do it in 1 or 2 slots. But to take your sections clean and make sure all the hair is out the way before you begin. Just makes everything so much easier. Now the hair is very thick, so I'm just going to put a couple of clips in here. Okay, so the back is beautiful. By the way, Ricardo did this incredible color, such a beautiful color. And I think it would be nice to be able to actually let people know what color he did, the formulation, which we will let you guys know. Same thing on the other side. Such a quick, cool technique that you can use. Again, remember, go down first and then back up. Down, then back up. because if you go up, it'll create too much volume through here. So you want to go flat, then around, flat, then around. And that gives you a really nice wave. I don't want to comb it just yet so much because I don't want to take away from the style. You've got to let it set in the heat that it's in. But just sealing the bottom is very, very important. Same thing, going to work my way up, and I'm going to incorporate some products. So I'm just going to carry on taking section after section and work through the same technique through this back area. Okay, and so this is going to give us a nice wave through here. Again, we're working with express services, and this is a really nice way of styling the hair in a quick way. I'm such a believer of education, and I think this is why, you know, we at Joico wanted to put today on, because education really, I believe, equals motivation. And when you're educated and you're learning new techniques, it keeps you as a hairdresser inspired and motivated. So it's very, very important to, you know, use this time to grow, use this time to grow, use this time to learn new techniques, and not be afraid to try something new, something different. I'm always challenging myself to learn new techniques. And there's so many elements to hairdressing. You know, you've got cutting, you've got styling, you've got mends, you've got braiding. There's so many different elements of hairdressing. And I think it's important to learn as much as you can, because the more tools you have in your belt, the better the hairdresser you're going to be. And so that's why I think it's so important to understand the fundamentals, the foundations of hairdressing. You know, I always use the example, I live in New York City, and before they build those skyscrapers in New York City, they dig deep. The deeper the foundation, the taller the building. And that's the same with hairdressing. When it comes to understanding the foundational techniques of whether it be cutting, coloring, or styling, the more disciplined you are, the better the hairdresser you're going to be. Don't take the shortcut. Don't take the easy way out. Practice, 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 because we all know practice makes perfect. And the more you do something, the better you become at it. So I want to encourage you, even now during this season, pull out a mannequin head and actually start practicing. Maybe practice this cool technique of cutting, or the color techniques that Jill and Ricardo showed you. But I think it's key to stay creatively hydrated. So, so important. Again, repeating the same technique. And it just gives you a real nice subtle wave. Can you see that? That's beautiful, isn't it? See how it goes flat up, flat up, flat up. And then you can shake it out and it gives you a really cool Dua Lipa wave. For those that know Dua Lipa and her hair. I love the new hairstyle. In fact, we did Ashley's hair like that with the blonde and the regrowth. So, and then we created this wave. And once we put the wave in and we started shaking it out, it's just beautiful what's being created here. Such a nice, simple technique. Seal the ends. It's so important you seal the ends, otherwise the hair can look a little bit dry. So don't forget, guys, we have 24/7 education on demand with joico.com. Go to Pro Education, and there you'll see a lot of the artists that you're seeing today do really cool and different techniques just for you. And it's all for free. It's all there for you. So take this time to invest in yourself and grow, because this season is an interesting season for everybody, but it's how we respond to it that will determine how we come out from it. Okay, so taking my third last section through in here, we're almost there because I want to show you how to style and finish the products. Make sure you let us know when I've got a couple more minutes left, Ash. All right, so second last section. Again, when you're picking up the hair, try to avoid picking up what's actually being already waved. So just make sure you take your section. Okay, that's been waved under there. So I'm going to take that and make sure it's not too wide either. I think when it's too wide, it gets more difficult. So I think that's probably the width you want it to be. I reckon about 2 inches, no wider than that. And then make sure the irons are completely hot. And then work again with sealing the roots first. Same thing on this side. So nice, such a nice, simple technique. And then seal the ends. And you'll see how the wave, even if the wave is slightly off, it doesn't matter. It all adds to the imperfection of it. This is not a glam look. This is more of just a cool, young, downtown girl look. And letting that cool down. Almost there, 2 more sections, and then we can start to shake it out and put a little bit of product. And it's all about styling the hair. You know, so many of us spend so long cutting the hair, and we kind of neglect spending time to finish the hair and educating our clients. I think 3 questions we should always be asking is what we're doing, why we're doing it, and how we're doing it. Same with products. What are you using? Why are you using it? And how are you using it? If you can answer those 3 questions all the time, whether it comes with education to hairdressers or educating the clients, I think you'll help them maintain your look at home. Because if we as professionals need products, how much more than non-professionals are going to need it? We professionals need products to make the hair look beautiful. If we can recommend, I don't sell products, I recommend products to clients. If they can take the right products home and begin to look after their hair, it's only going to make your job easier. And actually, in turn, it will actually bring more clients to you because they'll get a lot more compliments on the hair, and they'll be like, oh, Richard Mannah cuts my hair, or so-and-so cuts my hair. So it's about helping your clients look as fabulous as they can so that they can look good, feel good, but also attract compliments. And that's, I think, how you build a business. Yeah, that'll be a bit of help. Okay, almost there. Just going to finish these last couple of sections, and then we're going to incorporate the products. There we are. Okay, perfect. That's so much better. Thank you so much. Over, under, over, under. Can we have a look? Over. Just creates a beautiful wave. They can see that, yeah? Yeah. Nice. Last section here, this side. Make sure you hold the hair as well. Control that way. Okay, last section on top. Last section here. Cool. All right. This model's too tall for me. How's it looking?
Looks amazing.
Yeah, last section here. I think with this look as well, with the waves, I don't like the layers too short, hence why I've left the layers a lot longer. I think it looks always better with longer layers. Cool. All right, let's have a look in the mirror. What I want to do is just slightly do this little bit here, around the front. All right, I'm going to put some products in the hair now. It's gorgeous. Simple, but very, very effective. Hold the camera straight. There we go. Okay, so we're going to use, I love the bead shake. This is what I was talking about earlier. Bead shake has beeswax in it. You've got to shake it really, really well. Now, you've got to be careful because if you're working on fine hair, it might be too heavy, but it's great on medium to thick hair. So you shake really well and then you spray. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to shake really well and put it in my hand. Like that. Okay? And then once I've got that in there, move up a little bit, Ash, so I can see. I'm going to just start to work that into the hair. So it's not going to create too much separation. I want that flatness there. But then we can shake it out a little bit and then use the excess around the front. And that, you know, that front section, I think is really nice to have a disconnected piece rather than, you know, connecting that all the way. It's about having the disconnected fringe and then dropping all the length. I didn't want to start graduating all that because then I'll lose this shape. I quite like the way it's almost like a fringe growing out. And that's what I think looks sexy and modern. This is so simple, but very, very effective. And I think it's very wearable as well. How I apply the product through the back, I'm gonna come around the back. Again, I'm gonna spray on my hands. All right, and rather than just going on the surface, I like to go underneath and apply product. So there's a nice even amount underneath here as well. Otherwise, it would just be too shiny on the top and dry and fluffy underneath. So it's about getting the nice amount of product on both sides, whether it be underneath or the top, and then working that through. And again, working product bit by bit. Don't put too much product too quick. It's so important to understand your product and work it wisely. And I always say, if you put too much product too quick, it can ruin the hairstyle. It's a bit like cooking. You know, you could spend an hour cooking and then at the end put too much salt. You're going to ruin the dish. You put a little bit of salt, you taste it. Same with products. You put a little bit of products, you manipulate it and see what the hair is doing and how it's responding. You like that? How long we got left? 10. Oh, nice. So this is one way of working it. And then, you know, once you take that off, I just want to show you. So you can see the wave. You can see the wave all the way through. It's really young, it's really modern. It's not your typical wave with the curling iron, which that's great too. But if you want to create something unique and something different and something younger, nothing cooler at this point, I think this is a nice way of doing it, you know. There's another thing I wanted to show you as well, which is the twist dry. But before I do that, I want to do a quick little recap for you. And just finish off the hair, so I'm completely happy with the way that's sitting. I love this kind of like curtain fringe, and it's not overly curled. We've kind of worked into an S band, so even from the profile, you can see that this connection is so super cute, and it's about creating that texture and separation. And the more you put your fingers through it, I think the cooler this hairstyle looks. And you know, you can get a little bit more volume as well if you wanted to. Just rub the roots. You can even put a little bit of texture spray, which is the other shake. This is called body shake. This is a texturizer spray with zero shine. So you shake really, really well, and then just gently manipulate the hair for that added volume and texture. Products are so important. I'm so glad to have these Joico products because it allows me to create the different textures that I want to create. And that's the same, I guess, with clients as well. And they have great products for styling, great products for coloring, and it just, you know, makes the hair look and feel good. And that's what it's about. It's about having healthy, cool hair that's touchable and young and modern at the same time. It's nice, isn't it? You like it, Ash?
I love it.
It's cute, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I wanted to just do a quick recap. So what did we do? We started, for those who are just tuning in, we started with a center parting all the way down. Then we worked a radial section from the top of the ear, from the top of the head to the top of the ear. So we separated the back from the front. Come around this side. So once we separated the hair into four, we worked everything at short to long and then directed everything to the center. So we worked one inversion behind the radial. Then in front of the radial, we took another section through in here and we connected that crown and worked from short to long. So we're maintaining more length through the front, and then we directed everything to the center. So what that gives you is what we call an inversion. So it's shorter internally and longer on one side and longer on the other side. So the layers are shorter, but we're going to longer length, which will give us more weight through the perimeter, because I didn't want to take away from the perimeter. Once that was done, obviously we cut the baseline square, so it's not dripping. We didn't over direct back, we just cut it square from the sides and square from the back, and that's what gives it that strength through the baseline. Once we did that, we worked with this super cute little fringe. If you want to just come here, we did another inversion. We pulled everything out. We used our scissors as a back cutting technique, and then we directed everything to the center. So it works from shorter to longer. So what it does, it gives you a disconnected fringe, but maintains that baseline corner, which is there, which I think is what makes it look cute and super modern. And then we did the same on the other side. And then we used the straightening irons, and we just worked with the hair going under, over, section by section by section by section, all around the head to give us this beautiful undone and young wave. Once that was done, we used some beat shake in my hands and some body shake to create this beautiful texture, shine, and separation. There's another way of styling hair as well. I did this very, very quickly this morning, just to quickly show you guys, especially for those that don't have the opportunity to be able to use a hairdryer, you can do a twist dry. So what I do, you obviously have the hair all pre-blow dried while the client comes in. You cut it, and then you take sections. You take one section here, and you twist away from the face. I've taken the clips out here so you can see. Obviously, you take a section for the top and a section for the bottom and the sides. But once you take this out, it kind of gives you a really nice wave. Can you see that?
Yeah.
I'll show you underneath. Look at that. Just gives you a really nice wave. It needs to be brushed through, but I just wanted to show you the kind of wave that a twist can actually give you. Let's put it on here. So if I run my fingers through that, or even a brush, just a beautiful wave simply by just twisting the hair. Simple. And you can go in there with the curling irons and just tweak it a little bit as well. This side, have a look. So it's so fun. And I just say hairdressing is so fun. And I'm so thankful to be part of a creative, cool community, because we as hairdressers make people look and feel good. What a great job to be in. We get to listen to music, we get to wear what we like, and we get to make people look and feel good. And we get to learn, we get to grow, we get to stay inspired and express ourselves creatively. Don't ever forget the power that we have in our hands to make people look and feel good. So consistency for me is the key. Whether it's a Monday morning or a Saturday evening, let's always put our heart in everything that we do, and let's be passionate, and let's give people not perfect service, because no one's perfect. Let's give people excellence. And having a spirit of excellence and doing everything from our heart, I think is so, so important. I hope you guys agree with me on that. But also, learning new techniques. Look at that wave in the hair. Simply by just twisting it. Obviously, we're going to put some product in. I just wanted to do this really quickly so you guys can see a nice wave. I tell you what I sometimes use as well, is the Pro Series as a shine spray, because this works as a standalone treatment, and it just gets rid of a lot of that flyaway. Look at that. Can you see that?
Yeah.
And just go like that. Whoop. You've got a beautiful wave. Simply by twisting it. So, so simple. Can I do the exact same thing through the back? Just put a little bit of shine. Run your fingers through that and it gets rid of that flyaway. Such a good product. It's not used to give shine. It does work as a standalone treatment, but I like to kind of break the rules sometimes and use products differently to create different results. And it's about utilizing the product, but it's also about experimenting with the product, combining products together to create something different and something unique. Okay, same here. Just gonna use my fingers first. Get rid of that. Just creates a nice wave in the hair. So that's another way of being able to dry hair. And another way of styling my other one is simply working it upside down and just shaking it for maximum volume. So what I'm going to do, obviously you can't take the head off your client, so it's not about that. It's about tipping him upside down and then using the body shake and let's get maximum volume. And I would tip the client's head upside down and get that texture in there. And let it cool down. And then watch this when I put it back on the head. We're going in front of the mirror. All right, let's do this. And you just get a lot more texture, a lot more width, a lot more separation. And the good thing is, if you feel like you've gone too thick, you can easily just go back with the brush and it'll flatten everything down for you, but you've still got that wave. And that gives you a really nice, cool look. There we are, it's balanced now. Okay, so that is my look for today. I hope you guys have liked the Express service. Something very, very simple, something that's quick and can be incorporated in a salon. It's simply by working two inversions and then using the straightening iron back and forth to create this new look.